ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਹਮਦਰਦ ਟੀਵੀ। ਮੈਂ ਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਗੁਰਜੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹਾਜ਼ਰ ਹਾਂ ਜੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਖਾਸ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿਸੇ ਖਾਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਵਾਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਖਾਸ ਮੁੱਦਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਜੋ ਕਰੰਟ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ ਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨਸ ਕਾਫੀ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨ ਵੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ। ਕਿਹਾ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਆ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਰਗਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈਗਾ। ਇਸ ਬਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਅੱਜ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਟੂਡੀਓ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਪੀਅਰ ਪੋਲੀਏਵ, ਜੋ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਣੇ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਸਾਂਝੇ ਕਰਨ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਦੀਆਂ ਕੀ ਪਾਲਿਸੀਜ਼ ਹੋਣ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਸ ਸਭ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ। ਸੋ ਲੈਟਸ ਵੈਲਕਮ Mr. Pierre Poilievre. Mr. Pierre Poilievre, welcome to the studio of Hamdard.
Thank you very much for having me. Great to be with you.
Yeah. And Mr. Poilievre, 2025 is going to end in coming few days, and
yes.
Canadians are enjoying their holidays. So looking back at the 2025 session, what are your views on that? Like many things happen, extortion debate was cancelled,
yes.
so many other things. So what are your views on that?
Yes, I mean, this was a session where Conservatives fought for an affordable Canada and a safe Canada.
Yeah.
We want people to be able to afford food and homes again after 10 years where Liberals basically doubled grocery bills and housing costs. We pushed for a government to stop all of the crazy spending and taxes. Let's cut bureaucracy, consultants, waste, foreign aid, bring down the deficits and the taxes so that people can afford to eat, heat and house themselves. And then secondly, on safety, crime is out of control under the Liberals. We see a 300% increase in extortion. They reduced criminal penalties for extortion with a gun. And they still haven't done anything to address the crisis that they created. We see, I just got a message the other day that a 25-year-old who was murdered by an extortionist here in the Brampton area. I think he was in Brampton somewhere. And this is not the first time it's happened. And countless business people are getting threatening phone calls. And the Liberal government is basically letting the extortionists into the country and loose on our streets. So we want to bring in Tim Singh Uppal's bill. He's a Conservative deputy leader. He has a bill that will bring mandatory jail time for extortion, that will lock up criminals. It will expel those who are non-Canadian. So if someone comes here and we find out they're in the Bishnoi gang and they're doing extortion, they should be convicted and then kicked out of Canada. That we do not want foreign non-Canadian criminals harassing law-abiding, decent people on our streets. And we can bring safety and affordability back to all of our communities.
Yeah, and talking about the extortions, extortion cases are rising day by day. And so what do you think why Liberals are not supporting Mr. Arpan Khanna's jail not bail bill, as they also are saying that the current bail system need reforms? So what do you think, what's the difference between their bill and the Mr. Arpan Khanna bill?
Well, first of all, the Liberals created this mess. They passed C-75, which is the catch and release bail system we have now. It was designed by the same Liberals who are in power today. The Justice Minister voted for soft bail. They don't believe in toughening the bail system, and so that is why they refuse to make any changes, any real changes to bail. So the reality is that if you want to end catch and release, and you want to bring in jail, not bail, then you're going to need a Conservative government so that people like Arpan Khanna, Tim Uppal, myself can put the tough laws in place and put the criminals in jail.
Yeah, and as you talked about, the 25-year-old was murdered by the extortionist, and yesterday also one firing incident happened in Caledon where the extortionists were demanding $2 million from the Punjabi owner. He has his business in Caledon, and last week the robbery incident happened in the same plaza where we are sitting today. So what
really? Right in this plaza?
Yeah, right in this plaza.
I didn't know that.
So what are the plans that are being made by the Conservatives and are going to implement, like you are going to put in the Parliament in 2026?
Well, first of all, we need to do vetting. In the people who come into Canada need to be vetted based on their criminal past in country of origin. Like right now, the government vets people whether they've committed a crime in Canada. But if they're coming into the country for the first time, of course, there would be no record in this country. It has to be in the country of origin. We should not allow anybody in who's a criminal. Secondly, we need to get rid of what's called the sentencing discount for non-Canadians. If someone comes here, they're on a visitor visa, they're applying to stay, they commit a crime, they're getting a discounted jail sentence so that they can stay in the country. I want the opposite. They should get the maximum penalty and then they should be sent to their country when they're not Canadian citizens,
Okay.
right, or permanent residents. And the second thing is we need to bring in mandatory prison sentences for extortion, keep them in jail for 10 years, and only let them out with spotless behavior and clean drug tests. If you have those kinds of serious consequences, then these gangsters will think twice.
Yeah, and Mr. Poilievre, Liberals in the last few months promised to hire 1,000 RCMP
Yes.
officers. So are they on the track to meet that commitment?
No, not even close. I don't think there's any evidence they've hired any RCMP officers. They continually make the announcement and the re-announcement, and it never actually happens. So it's just more and more talk. It's another Liberal bait and switch. Mark Carney says all the right things. He goes out and pretends that he agrees with the Conservatives on crime and affordability, but then in practice he does exactly the opposite of what he says.
Yeah, and throughout the 2025, the main issue was tariffs as well. So during the election campaign 2025, Liberals were only talking about the tariffs.
Yes.
So what do you think that, what are your thoughts that Mark Carney handling the tariff issue very good or not?
Well, he hasn't done anything, and he said that he would have a deal by July. There's still no deal. The tariffs remain in place. In fact, they've doubled since he took office. And he hasn't got a single tariff lifted by any country anywhere in the world on Canada. So we're paying more tariffs to sell our goods to the world. And that is why we have one of the weaker economies in the world. What we need is a Canada First strategy that will allow us to bring home more of our paychecks and production to this country, become less reliant on other nations. We do that by unblocking our resources, our oil, gas, uranium, building better pipelines, ports, LNG plants, so that we can sell to the whole world, not just to the United States, and we would be less vulnerable to threats of tariffs if we did that.
Yeah, and Mr. Poilievre, please describe your colleague Frank Caputo's law that recently passed with consent that called Bailey's Law. So what do you think, why this law is important?
Yes, well, Bailey McCourt was murdered by her husband. He was a very violent man, and he had been released from prison on bail after he was convicted. I mean, normally bail happens before a conviction, but in this case, he got bail after he was convicted of a very serious offense within 3 hours. And only 4 kilometers away from the courthouse, he went and murdered his wife. If he had been kept behind bars where he should have been because he was convicted, then he would not have, she would still be alive today, enjoying her life in Kelowna, British Columbia. So Frank's law would keep spouse abusers like this man behind bars, and would also prevent them from being in the same area as their victims, and that would make sure that they don't get out of prison. It would also make it an automatic first-degree murder if you kill a spouse, on the assumption that it's really must be premeditated if you're doing that. And these steps would go a very long way to make sure that Bailey McCourt does not die in vain, and no other woman has to live through the hell of abuse, or God forbid, lose their lives.
Okay, and drugs is also the main concerning issue nowadays. So what do you think about the current federal drug policy?
Well, the Liberal drug policy has caused this crisis. They've stopped charging people with drug offenses. So the practice is that they have decriminalized drug use, and that has allowed fentanyl, methamphetamines, cocaine, crack, other hard drugs to be more available in our streets, in the hands of dangerous drug dealers who then also commit a lot of other related crimes. The overdose rate is just unbelievable. If you think about it, fentanyl, 2 milligrams of fentanyl can stop your lungs. Think about 2 milligrams is like a little sprinkle of sugar. And that can stop your lungs. So if your child goes to a party and takes it, they can be dead like that, even if they're not regular drug users. We want to bring in mandatory life sentences for anyone who has marketed or produced more than 40 milligrams of fentanyl. We want to invest in treatment and recovery. So if someone is addicted, instead of giving them more drugs, let's put them in a treatment camp where they can get counseling, group therapy, withdrawal treatment, and eventually placed in a job and a home. And I believe we can really defeat the drug crisis that way.
Okay, so you are going to bring in 2026?
That's part of our platform, and we've been fighting for it ever since. Right now, the government is giving out hydromorphone, which is it's a kind of a drug, like an opioid, and they say it's helping because they say it's safe, but it's not safe. It's keeping people on drugs, which is the opposite of what we need. We need to get people into treatment, recovery, and bring them home drug-free.
Yeah, and Mr. Poilievre, Canadians are saying that Canada is not like that. It was like few years ago.
Yes.
So what do you think? What policies have led the Canada to this point?
Well, everything the Liberals have done. The out-of-control spending has caused inflation, so the working class and the youth cannot afford anything anymore. There's hidden grocery taxes that in the form of an industrial carbon tax, a food packaging tax, a new fuel tax, very sneaky fuel tax. All of these things are driving up gas, grocery prices. We need to get rid of all that. They're funding bureaucracy that blocks home building. They've allowed our population to grow way too fast with open borders. That has caused housing shortages. And of course, they've unleashed crime and drugs with liberal criminal justice policy. So we need to reverse all that. The good news is we know how to reverse these policies. We can get spending, crime, immigration, our borders under control and restore the country that you remember.
Yeah, and many Canadians are saying that the immigration system is broken nowadays, and Conservatives also are pushing this issue. So what are the policies that Conservatives are going to bring in the coming years?
Well, a number of things on immigration. One, we need to slow the numbers down. We need to have a formula that ensures that we always add housing, healthcare, and jobs faster than we add people. And so that's not a hard thing to do. You just take the growth rate of jobs, of number of doctors and nurses, and the number of homes built, and you ensure that the number of people we let in is always lower than all three of those. And then the second thing is we have to get rid of the temporary foreign worker program, which allows multinational corporations to drive down Canadian wages by hiring low-wage workers from poor countries. So many of our young people, particularly in the GTA, cannot find a job because the Tim Hortons and Starbucks are giving it to temporary foreign workers. And the workers are not bad people. They're just trying to get a better life. But we don't have enough jobs for them, and we need to give Canadian jobs to Canadian workers first.
Yeah, and Mr. Poilievre, international students or the work permit holders are protesting nowadays, and they are saying that they have paid the full taxes and worked a lot, and they had made a lot of efforts to in growth of the economy of Canada. So do you think they should get fair pathway in immigration?
Well, I understand the frustration, but the problem is that we don't have housing. We don't have. The Liberals let in basically 1 million people a year with no place to house them, no health care to provide them, and no jobs to employ them. And now we have a problem of overcrowding, and a lot of people were given a false promise that they would be allowed to stay. I don't have anything against the people. I have a problem with the policy the Liberals brought in. And so when people's permits expire, unless they have some special eligibility, they will have to return to their country of origin. And we wish them well. But the blame does not belong with the people. It belongs with the Liberal politicians.
Yeah. And can you please elaborate the Bill C9 and why Conservatives are against this bill?
Yes. Well, the bill would basically allow the government to ban religious texts that they find politically incorrect. You know, the traditional teachings of basically all the religions, Sikhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, they all have traditional teachings that are out of sync with liberal values, and now the Liberals want to give, they want to be able to say that those texts contain what they call hate speech, and so they want to be able to point at something and say, oh, that's hatred, and ban those texts, and effectively prosecute people for quoting those texts verbatim. So anybody who values their religious traditions should be very worried about this bill. Conservatives are fighting to stop it.
And Mr. Poilievre, as we are going short of time, so any last message you want to convey our audience who is watching you right now?
Yes, well, one other initiative we have right now is to bring in a blue seal, which is to a national licensing standard for immigrant professionals. In fact, for all professionals born educated in Canada or abroad. If you are a trained doctor, you should be able to take a test to prove that rather than waiting 7 or 8 years. We have so many 20,000 immigrant doctors, 32,000 immigrant nurses that cannot work in our country because they do not have a license. I want to bring in a national license that is approved based on a testing standard that can be done quickly, and that would open up our hospitals to more doctors and nurses. Immigrant architects, engineers would be able to get better jobs, and it would be a seamless national license. So this is an exciting idea, and I think we can restore the promise of Canada that anybody who works hard gets a nice house, a good food on the table, a nice flag on the front porch, on a safe street. That's the promise. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. And Mr. Poilievre, last but not the least, do you agree that Canadians should ask questions to the Liberal MPs or any other politicians, rather than not clicking just photographs, just ask them the questions?
Yes, well, I think they got to ask them, where you promised all these things. Where are they? We've been trying to get them to pass a change to bail, and they have not done it. If you look at the committee records from last week, Conservatives pushed to have a bail bill adopted about 17 different times, and each time the Liberals blocked it. So we need them to get out of the way so we can scrap Liberal bail and make our communities safe again.
Thank you so much, Mr. Poilievre.
Thank you very much to you.
Meeting with you.
Many blessings and a happy holiday to you.
Same to you. Thank you. ਤਾਂ ਇਸੀ ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਖਾਸ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰ ਫਿਰ ਤੋਂ ਮੁਲਾਕਾਤ ਕਰਵਾਈ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਪੀਅਰ ਪੋਲੀਵਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੀ ਇਕਨੋਮੀ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰੰਟ ਸਿਨੈਰੀਓ ਜੋ ਚੱਲ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸਭ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਗਿਆ ਆ। ਉਮੀਦ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਦੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਚੰਗੀ ਲੱਗੀ ਹੋਵੇਗੀ ਤੇ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਕੰਜ਼ਰਵੇਟਿਵ ਪਾਰਟੀ ਦੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਆਉਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਲਿਆਂਦੇ ਜਾਣਗੇ, ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕੀਤੇ ਜਾਣਗੇ, ਉਹ ਸਭ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਵੀ ਡਿਸਕਸ਼ਨ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਫਿਲਹਾਲ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੰਨਾ ਹੀ। ਬਣੇ ਰਹੋ ਹਮਦਰਦ ਟੀਵੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ। ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦਿਓ ਇਜਾਜ਼ਤ। ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ।